Can you tell me your name first? Where are you from? When were you born? Where did you live? Where were your parents from?
I am Yakubova Zulfiya Yakubovna. I was born in Kybishevsky district, Cherkskerman village, in Crimea in 1941. In 1942, according to my passport. And what else?
What about your family? How many people were there in your family? Parents, brothers, sisters?
My parents, what were their names? My father, Yakub Seferov, Valila, my mother's maiden name, and my brothers. Do I have to say their names, too?
Yes, yes.
Yakubov Zakir, Yakubov Zevzet, Yakubov Ziki, Yakubov Zevri.
Are they all family?
Yes, they're my family. They're gone. Yakubova Zulfi is me. And there was a little sister, Yakubova Zodi, but she died.
The youngest? Yes. There were 6 of you.
Yes, 6, even 7. What else can I say?
Tell me, how were you told about the deportation? Do you remember?
According to my parents' stories, maybe?
What happened at that day? What happened?
Well, according to my parents' stories, my mom told me. What happened? My mother told me that these soldiers had arrived. They said, "Get ready." They kicked us out of our own house. They put people in a small room and then gave them 15 minutes to dig out their valuables. There, of course, everything had been already taken. Well, my mother pointed it out. My father was already taken away at this moment. He was a prisoner of the Germans for his connection with the partisans. My mother was alone, with a little baby, this little sister. She was only 5 days old, and pointed out the place where my father buried valuables. They started digging. He said, we were standing there crying. Everyone started digging. It's been 15 minutes. All right, wrap it up. And she told, I was crying, got to the wagon with everyone, young and old. The oldest, Zakir, was 13 years old. Between all my brothers was 2 years age gap. We arrived, got to the Bokhara region, Narpe State Farm, present Navoy, not far away. The old town of Crimean. That's it. We lived there until we were rehabilitated. I mean, the way they took this off us. Their mother had 13 children. I don't know how they died, but there were 8 of them, 4 sisters and 4 brothers left. Everyone is dead now. Everyone got to different places. Everyone to different places. And my grandma got to Churchik. We didn't live in Churchik then. I had an uncle Muratasil. He was in the Labor Army, and grandmother and his wife lived together. She got to Churchik and took her daughter-in-law with her. And there was my aunt's daughter. Well, the 3 of them lived together, then grandma died. Her daughter-in-law, Gulsum was her name, she took the furl to an orphanage in Tashkent.
Why?
Well, she probably didn't want her. My father was in the Labor Army, my mother was in Andijan. Everyone was in different places. Well, she took her to an orphanage. No one ever found her. My aunt came looking for her, but they didn't find her. Apparently, either the last name was changed or something else. My mother's older brother went missing in the first years of the war, the first months. He was taken into the army and he went missing. They said the steamer or ship sank. Well, here are his children, a lot of us. But many had already died. And some of them got to different places.
You found them later, didn't you?
Yes, then we found them. Then Uncle Maradasil came first and found us, when he was released. Then the aunt who lived in Andijan, who had her daughter missing. She came. She even pierced my ears and brought me earrings. It's her memory.
When did you return to Crimea?
Me? The first time was in 1973, and the last time was in 1998.
Why didn't you stay the first time?
The first time I came to visit my brother, he was recruited in the first recruitment. And I went to visit him with my sons. 1973, the first time I was in Crimea. Well, that's how we lived. We suffered like everyone else, here and there. Anyway, we didn't get to the Urals. My mother married my father at the age of 16. Dad was working somewhere in the village council as some kind of official. People were sent to different places. Rich people got to the Urals, poor ones to Asia. It turns out that he told my grandfather, "If you give me your daughter in marriage, I won't write you to the Urals." So we got to Uzbekistan. He had his first wife. Well, he was a handsome man, tall, with wavy hair. I don't know him. He was so happy when you were born, my mother said. A girl among boys. But he couldn't see you. He saw me. And even in Moscow, they say, often went. And even before that, they used to wear bast shoes. He brought them to me. Little ones, my mother told me and laughed. Well, then he was shot. And shot, do you know where? In Bakhchisarai, at the station. On the other side, not on this side, but on the other. Where the line is, there, that's where he was shot. And my mother told me that they went with my brother, with the eldest, to look for him. And we were all small. There was a man with him. He wasn't the only one sitting there, I guess. Anyway, this man found us. It turns out they were together in captivity. And he said to him, "Yakub, let's run away." He didn't want to. He said, "I think they'll let us go." So, that man survived. Probably he is not alive anymore, for so many years. We went to Bakhchisarai to find him. It's not far from Cherkskerman, that area. There were ditches dug out there, and they said that the bodies were lying on top of each other. And Zakir said, "And I will find my father. He has curly hair." And my mother told me he wasn't afraid, even though he was a child. He was looking for him, but he didn't find him. And on top of that, the woman was lying, she said, undressed, with the baby tied up with wires. That's the kind of thing he saw. That is. Anyway, then we heard that he was shot. He was shot in 1943, my father. And we stayed. The whole family. That's how we lived on this state farm.